I'm stitching the Air Jordan 1 patterns together that I made. So I got all my patterns here that we previously made in the past video. These are what they look like. They're all ready to go, get cut out, traced out. I'm tracing these on vinyl, which I got from the vinyl store down the street. It's super cheap, inexpensive material. Don't waste all of this on leather if you're just trying to get the patterns correct that you made. This vinyl is super inexpensive. It's about 20 bucks for the full on roll. I recommend going that route. I got it from the vinyl store right down the street. It's a super inexpensive local store, but let's get to tracing. So I got all my patterns here that we previously made in the past video. These are what they look like. They're all ready to go, get cut out, traced out. I'm tracing these on vinyl, which I got from the vinyl store down the street. It's super cheap, inexpensive material. Don't waste all of this on leather if you're just trying to get the patterns correct that you made. So as you can see, I'm using a fine point Sharpie pen in order to trace all the patterns around. I'm keeping this here just for reference points because I'm not too worried right now about the ink, staying on the vinyl. I'm not too worried about that. Now, once we do go over to leather, that's when I will go to the heat erasable ink pens. But for right now, I'm just chilling with the Sharpie points. I'm not too worried. As I said before, I like to keep it there too, so when I go back and maybe change up some patterns, I know where my first reference point was, so then I could change it up, and then I have a second reference point, and then I keep those lines there in order to make new patterns, and that's what helps me. Everything is now cut out, ready to go. I just got to stitch them all together. Now, I didn't cut out the toe box and the toe, but I'm not worried about that. Those are going to be very accurate, so not too worried. But that being said, all this is now cut out, ready to go. I'm going to be gluing the Nike signs, then stitching those, then kind of glue the eyelets and the wings right here, go on the back piece, on the little back tab right here. Not too worried about the liner, just because that's kind of default. If this works out and it's accurate as possible, then the liner is going to work out, because all you got to do is stitch it inside out, flip it over, it's all done. As well as the tongue, I'm going to be stitching it just because and throwing that on the toe as well, but that's going to be last. Not too worried about that because this is pretty much the main component of the shoemaking. So I'm going to start gluing and start stitching. So with this vinyl, just gluing it together, I'm just using normal contact cement as well as just whatever thread is in my sewing machine at the time. I don't really care what color I'm using. I think the back sometimes was purple and then the other ones were gray, but I just use pretty much whatever thread. This is just a pattern that I'm trying to make perfect so then we could apply it to leather. But also at the same time, I'm using bar cement, contact cement. You could also use vinyl like glue, but I haven't really used that before. I just like to stick to bar cement. So as I said before, pattern making definitely takes a long time, and you definitely have to be patient with this. You're going to come across lots of struggles, lots of mess ups along the way. 1, 2, and 3. Those are the 3 different back tabs that I changed up in order to get the 4th one correct on the back. And that just is like one example of all the parts that I've been putting together in order to make these shoes. Now, this is something that you come across during pattern making. Now, I could, keep the first one, but it's not perfect. It's not what I want. It's not what I like. And as I showed, you got 2 of the paper ones, and then the second paper one was like, okay, I'm gonna change up a little bit, and then I got this, but it didn't work for what I wanted. So now the 4th one is perfect. It's sitting on there fine, just like how I wanted. But this is just one example of all the pieces that I'm working with. Now, the only really sign, or like the one piece that does fit every single time, is a Nike sign. Other than that, all the other pieces I pretty much have to trace 100 times unless I, also the tongue. The tongue is definitely a solid one every single time. We don't mess up on that one. And just like that, the patterns are all finished. As you can see, this is an Air Jordan 1 low. Now, unfortunately, on the bobbin, my little tension broke. So as you can see right there, it snapped off the screw. So unfortunately, I have to buy that little part right now, and hopefully that comes in very soon. But for right now, we got the upper all stitched up, ready to go. And as you can see, it looks just like an Air Jordan 1 low. So I'm super excited with how it's looking. Now, this whole part is all finished. Now, I was stitching the tongue when this broke. Unfortunately, that's what happened. I wish it didn't, but we're just gonna order a new part. But that being said, I'm gonna finish the tongue once that part comes in, as well as the toe, stitch it onto the upper right here, and then it will all be finished. But for the most part, just looking at it from right here, I think it is very accurate. I think it's right on point. So from right here, we're pretty much going to be cutting out on the real leather, tracing it out on there, and making the shoe from there. But as you saw, we use very cheap vinyl, but I'm super happy with the product and what has turned out with the upper. But thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out all my other videos. Also, become a member today. It really helps out the channel. All the perks are down below, as well as become a member with badges and emojis. It's super cool and fun, as well as my shoemaking course. You don't want to miss out on that. 100% online. But thanks for watching, and have a great day.